Guys who married Bridezillas, what happened after the wedding? She stabbed me in the thigh during the meal at our wedding. Still in prison. This story needs more than 2 sentences, even though they are admirably concise. What the fuck? Why? I spilled my entire euro on her dress. What did you get stabbed with? Steak knife from catering. My cousin was married to one. He comes from a very not wealthy area, and has become successful himself after moving out of his hometown. His wife was extremely wealthy, even could say excessively. They married after a year of knowing each other, and boy was it a surprise to hear about the wedding plans. They spent over $250K on the wedding, including catering by 5 to 7 different restaurants. Their food was from different cultures and cooked in front of you, think almost hibachi buffet style. They even had servers in tailed suits and white gloves serving Taco Bell after midnight once everyone was drunk. Once they got married, she was spending more money than he could make. She was getting mad because he wasn't making enough, while she wasn't working and they hadn't had kids. They got divorced, and she gave him the ultimatum of getting his ring back or keeping the dog. He kept the dog. Her sister, a lawyer, helped her file a restraining order on him and they haven't spoken since. Fuck her, but man did he dodge a bullet. Edit. I forgot to say they finished the divorce papers exactly 1 year and 1 day after their wedding. Edit 2. I never expected my first award would be the famous wholesome. Cheers. Cheated whole time. Left for an alcoholic guy who had more money. The couple I knew. They spent tens of thousands on their wedding and then a couple of years later she cheated on him with a much younger man. I knew a couple who spent £25,000 on a wedding despite having 3 kids and still living with the bride's parents. The bride had a very specific vision in mind and didn't care how much it cost. They divorced a year later when she cheated on him. Buddy of mine had a 6-figure wedding. Bride's side is wealthy, and they both cheated on each other within a year. They're still together though. Ah. Couples that cheat together stay together. Got into a huge fight about broccoli on the honeymoon, all my fault of course. I knew then it was a mistake. Toughed it out for 2 more years of abuse before I left. So glad I did. How was the broccoli your fault exactly? Because I hadn't previously disclosed that I liked it. We didn't even have any. I learned a lot about narcissism, mental illness and substance abuse during the next 2 years and have avoided them since. Good life lesson. You didn't disclose that beforehand. WTF, you monster. First wife was a Bridezilla. During the honeymoon she realized she was married and the wedding day was history. She wanted the big wedding, which she had, not the marriage. The next 2 years were hell until she finally tapped out. I was young and stupid and the thought of divorce never crossed my mind. I don't know why it didn't. I guess I just assumed I'd be miserable the rest of my life. When she told me she was leaving it felt as if the weight of the world was off of my shoulders. On a happy note her parents were still paying off the wedding when we divorced. That's what happens when you allow your daughter everything she wanted, including 2 wedding dresses. I'm a wedding officiant who has married over 300 couples. I know, wrong kind of married. Only a few Bridezillas in there, and they're actually super easy for me to work with. They write their own ceremony, don't depend on me to run the rehearsal, and they don't try to dicker me down on the price. Motherzillas of the bride, on the other hand, are my worst fear, as they can quickly make my job miserable. If they're failing to get their way on interfering with their daughter's wedding, they'll try to use me as a proxy. My buddy married a Bridezilla. She was a Bridezilla long before the wedding, and they had dated for about 7 years. I have no idea how they are doing. I just kind of stopped talking to him a few years after she claimed I ruined his birthday by remaining sober. I had driven 5 hours to be at his birthday. I really don't understand why people get offended if you don't want to get as drunk as they would like. Like, the fuck do you care if I'm drunk or not? A bit of a change up. Not a Bridezilla, but a Groomzilla. A friend of my father was remarrying. It was both his and the bride's second time around, both in their early 40s, and an arranged marriage, think Indian Orthodox Muslim stuff. The guy was an utter groomzilla. He demanded that every event be at top-notch hotels with obscenely expensive catering and hired string quartets and whatnot for the entertainment. Mostly paid out of the bride's family's pocket, I might add. Obviously it was very odd and conspicuous, and the few relatives from her side made some noncommittal excuses about her not feeling well, etc. Turns out, this fucker had divorced the poor woman right after he'd had his wedding night fun. He said that he didn't like her enough, and that's an almost literal quote. So he gave her the triple divorce thing, and that was it. The marriage was officially over before the festivities even ended. Married for 7 years before I bailed. Best decision of my life. Got married again 5 years later to a girl that just wanted a justice of the peace wedding. Second best decision of my life. Courthouse weddings are the best. Ours was done in 30 minutes and then we had Cajun food and sex. It was nice not being so tired from wedding prep and doings that you just felt like spending the honeymoon sleeping. Did everybody RSVP for the sex? They did, but almost everybody pulled out. Damn shame. I threw a surprise bukkake party for my wife. It was a great time. Everybody came. Should have seen her face. Thank you for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe for more.